Welcome to the Catholic Sobriety Podcast, the go-to resource for women seeking to have a deeper understanding of the role alcohol plays in their lives. Women who are looking to drink less or not at all for any reason. I am your host, Christy Walker. I'm a wife, mom, and a joy-filled Catholic, and I am the Catholic Sobriety Coach, and I am so glad you're here. Okay, so I am so grateful to share with you that my guest today is Dr. Stephan Neff, a best-selling author, advocate for mental health and addiction, and an anesthesiologist. Born in Germany, Stephan has studied medicine at the prestigious Heidelberg University before traveling and working around the globe. He now resides in beautiful New Zealand. Stephan's unique journey of recovery from addiction and mental health challenges has led him to become an expert in demystifying mental health problems and helping people live a life full of joy and sobriety. He shares his passion through his podcast, YouTube channel, and other social media under the title Steps to Sobriety. In his book, My Steps to Sobriety, Dr. Neff shares the lessons that he has learned and inspires readers to turn their lives around one little decision at a time. Stephan also believes that it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults. So he has partnered with Belinda Manna to create the ESME, the Mindful Mouse series, which helps children learn about emotions and mindfulness in a playful way, while helping adults put these life lessons into daily practice. I am thrilled to have Dr. Neff here to share his insights and wisdom with us. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me on your show, Christy. It's an honor,
Yay.
It's a privilege, and I'm looking forward to being thoroughly grilled by you. Go for it, girl.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm really, really excited to have you here. I've listened to several of your podcast episodes. I kind of binge listened to them after I found out about you, and I really love them. I really like the gamut of guests that you have on your program, on your show, on your podcast. And I love your way with them. You're a great interviewer and you ask very insightful questions. So I highly recommend anybody go look up Steps to Sobriety podcast. It's great.
Thank you very much.
To get started, could you please share a little bit about your sobriety journey and then what prompted you to write your book, My Steps to Sobriety?
I think we all drink not for the pleasure of drinking. Finally, whenever your drinking career starts, you finally develop a taste in which you become the connoisseur or whatever you tell yourself you are. The reality is most of us drink to escape our realities. We don't like the pain. We don't know what to do with our emotions. So we try to run away. We try to escape. And I think I'm exactly the same thing there. There are some benefits of alcohol that we always keep forgetting. Remember, most of us are a bit feeling shy and feeling not fitting in when we're younger. And guess what? It is a beautiful way to disinhibit you. And suddenly that shy little girl who can't get her lips apart is suddenly the center of the party and is becoming a very, very different girl, or a different boy in my case. And that was exactly these kind of things were the key drivers for me enjoying alcohol. My alcohol journey didn't start until really first year in university. Prior to that, I had probably not the greatest childhood, with a lot of stresses, nothing big to write home about, just the sign of the time, from early divorce in my life, to single mum, latchkey child, bullying. Then a key trauma occurred when a gang beat me up. That left me shaken and completely rearranged my molecules up there. And within a short period of time, I changed from a more or less can't fit in, but reasonably happy-ish boy to Rambo, because I did never want to be in such a situation again. So I started my martial arts journey, an interesting journey. So I moved from the victim to the survivor stage. But it was the 70s, 80s. No one gave a damn. No one knew about PTSD. So therefore, I was pretty much left alone from a psychological point of view. Now, luckily, I created a good abstract kind of framework around it. And I turned the PTSD symptoms into something positive. You will never catch me out again. And that made me actually quite a good doctor later on, because it's hard for you to catch me out. So this was all quite cool. But you can imagine that, I guess I first became a workaholic before I became an alcoholic, because I would work very hard at school. Then I would go into the dojo or onto a running track and would work out very hard there. And that was that. And it was only then in my first year of university when three things happened. First things, I realized that the ringleader, the gang leader who I brought behind bars, he would never ever find me. He had threatened to kill me as soon as he was getting out. But he would never ever find me. I'd moved towns and no chance. Secondly, I found girls. Thirdly, I found alcohol. And that was a very interesting combination, because suddenly this new person arrived on the scene, a disinhibited, happy, no longer watching his back constantly person. And that was a beautiful, beautiful time. So I must say that alcohol for me was very much a rescue. It was very much a relief valve, or release valve, may I say. It's something that really helped me for a long period of time. And I said many years. Yes, of course, I did crazy things. But these crazy things were always actually fun. And I was always the kind of responsible drinker. No, not responsible drinker. That's wrong. I was responsible when I was drunk. Let's do it like that. I always had a respect for law enforcement. I always had, when other people got into trouble, I broke up the fights. So that was me. So I actually had, I thought, a reasonable, good relationship with alcohol. Needless to say, it doesn't stay like that, because I was still running away. And any new trauma that layered itself on the old trauma, again, I ran, and running and hiding became sort of the key thing for me. Whilst I faced challenges head on in my profession and did one course after the other and one qualification after the other, that was really the workaholic. When it came to my emotions, I'd never learned how to deal with them. And I think that was the problem. And once there's so much layers of trauma coming on you, and in all fairness, I mean, if there is a God, or if there are gods or whatever the universe, it heaped trauma onto my plate. Thank you. Let's see how much more you can take. So, and that was just hard. And I came sooner or later to the breaking point. Well, later, I guess. This was only in my 40s, when really I was a high-functioning alcoholic, with hindsight. And high-functioning should always be put as an oxymoron, or as in quotation marks, because we are not high-functioning. We managed to keep out of trouble, but that's about it. And I can say that now, because those of you who are listening and who maybe are saying, yeah, okay, well, it's bullshit because I'm fine. We'll talk about it. I'm fine in a moment. Luckily, at some stage, the pain did no longer go away, regardless how much alcohol I drank. And the pain was still there. And it just broke through. And I was a mess. I was crying. there was depression. There was anxiety. There was PTSD, still big time, without me realizing the latter. And it was then that, luckily, my wife and family staged an intervention, when they went behind my back and, organized an admission to a rehabilitation hospital. And that was really where my life restarted. That was really a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time, because it took me out of the whole stresses, out of the whole chaos, out of the whole pain, transplanted me like a seedling into a new pot, which was a protected bubble. And there I was allowed to firstly get rid of the alcohol with the right support, medical support, then to start exploring who I was. And that was a very intriguing thing. I started to learn to experience emotions, because that's what they do to you. That's when you see these kind of proverbial pictures where people sit in a circle and there's this leaden silence in the background. Well, that is really a feelings session. That was once a day for an hour. And basically, the moderator is not a moderator. He's an idiot. He just sits there. He does do nothing. And then, the silence is so deafening that you, at some stage, someone says something. Then someone else says something. And then tears and laughter and anger and crying and everything. And you go through these emotions, and you can't run away. That's the deal. You can't actually put sunglasses on or a hat on and just hide yourself. It's not on. You can't drink or do whatever you previously did. You have to experience those emotions. And that was interesting. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn to live without alcohol and to live in such a way that I can actually experience what is going on. And that was new to me. So that started a journey, that started a path of self-exploration, of growth. It's really post-traumatic growth. And that is the journey that I've been on the last nine years now, which leads me to places that I would have never thought possible, which leads me to becoming a man that I truly am proud of. I don't get it right 100% of the time. I'm not sure that I get it right 90% of the time.
I don't think any of us do.
No, exactly. But I'm doing my best to take every moment as the gift that it is. It's a privilege for me to live. And I think that is where so many of us are coming to the conclusion, hang on, I've gone through so much hard time. That must have a meaning. I must serve a purpose. And that is where suddenly people like you and me start thinking about a podcast or writing a book or going out there and actually making amends in a meaningful way. It is an amazing journey, and each of these journey is different, yet they're so alike. Mm-hmm. It is, many of us start at the same point, false friend of alcohol, gambling, pornography, sex, food, you name it. There's a whole range of addictions out there that you can fall prey to. And let's be quite clear, guys, the figures are there. 1 in 3. If you're conservative, 1 in 4 of you out there will have a chemical addiction. Now, that's not bad. And if you think that each of you has at least one significant other, that means that half of the population is affected by addiction. Mm-hmm. Boy, oh boy. So let's give a few other stats there. Your chance of having a major depressive episode is 1 in 3 in your life. The amount of childhood sexual abuse, my goodness, wherever you look, there are different figures, but the figures are scary. You're talking 1 in 3, 1 in 5, 1 in 7, something there. Some people say more. And that is 1 in 7 for boys and much more for girls. The amount of mental health problems that we are facing in our society nowadays, it's scary. 20% of the teenagers, female teenagers, have an established anxiety diagnosis. So it's huge. And just to give you a bit of harder core things, 1 in 10 have got a personality disorder. So these are often the jerks or the maybe not so nice guys. And 1 in 100 are psychopaths and sociopaths. So it's not just in you that there's a problem. There are actually some rather nasty, often narcissistic people out there who are out there to make your life a challenge. So, surprise, surprise, you will end up in a lot of trouble.
That's true. And then you add alcohol to that, and it's just like throwing gasoline on a fire.
Absolutely. And I call it in my book, anxiety, because the anxiety hasn't gone away, but now you've got a hangover the next day, anxiety. So it's, but you don't see it. You don't see it because at that moment, the alcohol is the release valve. The alcohol is the soothing plaster that you put on your wound. But the problem, the wound is festering. So you need to actually address that wound. That is your trauma, whatever it is. And I think that's what I did not figure out for a very long time.
Yeah.
Do I regret it? For crying out loud. I regret the many mistakes I made in my life, the many wrong decisions I made in my life. But having said that, without those wrong decisions, I wouldn't be the man who is sitting here now. Yeah. So I guess I'm grateful for all the trauma. I'm grateful for all the rubbish decisions I made, because it now gives me the insight that I want to live more intentional, that I want to live each and every moment to the best of my abilities. And that is something I would have never, ever done in the past. Yeah. There's no boredom in my life. My goodness. Boredom is I haven't experienced boredom in the last 9 years, because it is, every moment is a gift. Every moment I take as an opportunity to either challenge myself or to relax. I take the opportunity to love myself, to look after myself. And that's something, again, I never did in the past. So therefore, yes, it is amazing. It doesn't mean to say that the trauma has stopped. I'm not living in kind of a beautiful, funny Fijian island where my personal chef is just waiting until my massage is finished. No, that's not how it works.
Really? I thought life in New Zealand was like that. That's what I thought you had. So, okay.
Oh, yeah, right. Not in Rotorua where I live. We are salt of the earth, forestry, down to earth. We've got about 9 gangs in an area of 100,000 people. So no, come on, we are. It is no.
It's not La La Land.
No, but it is still a beautiful place, and you look at the place where you live, you look at your relationships, you look at your job, all those things, you look in different eyes. And I think that is the beautiful thing once you move from victim to survivor, and then from survivor to thriver. And the thriver makes the most out of what is given to him. The thriver is the guy or the girl who is constantly thirsty for more knowledge, for more information, for more experiences, for more things that make life worthwhile living. And that is beautiful. So I think that is what I'm grateful for.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. Thank you so much, Stephan, for sharing your story. What a journey. Oh my goodness. And I love what you said, because I think that as well. Like, I don't regret anything that led me to my, where I am today, because it makes me who I am. It equips me, it strengthens me, and it allows me to help others. And that is what you are doing with your book and with your podcast. You're using that trauma, you're using your knowledge, your wisdom, and your recovery to reach out and help others. And I think that's so beautiful. That's what we're called to do, right? To give back and just to help others. So I love that so, so much. So what you mentioned something about, like, you are a high functioning alcoholic. What would you say is the difference maybe between someone who is a high functioning alcoholic and a gray area drinker? There's all kinds of, like, I don't want to label, I don't, like all those things. And that's totally fine. I call myself an alcoholic because it reminds me, or recovering alcoholic, because it reminds me of how serious my addiction was. But some people they don't want to do that. So what are your thoughts on that? And maybe what are the differences between the two? Right now, alcohol feels like the only way that you can cope with the stress of motherhood, social pressures, and maybe even fit in with your group of friends. But you're starting to realize that it's leaving you feeling ashamed, disconnected, and maybe even out of control. Imagine if you could wake up each morning feeling at peace and proud of the choices that you're making and free from the pressure to drink, whether that's at home or in social settings. And that, my friend, is where my 5-day sacred sobriety kickstart comes in. By the end of the 5 days, you will feel more peaceful and in control because you will have more clarity and confidence around your decisions to take it or leave it. You're also going to learn how to manage your mind in a way that is aligned with your faith. You will learn how to speak truth over yourself, and that will help you root out what's keeping you stuck. So check out my 5-day sacred sobriety kickstart and gain the clarity you need to make the decision to take alcohol or leave it from a place of peace. You can visit my website, thecatholicsobrietycoach.com. I have a pop-up there, or just go to my show notes.
Very, very good question. There are two schools of thought. One school is the AA thinking, where you have to admit as your step 1, 2, 3, that you are no longer in power. You're no longer in control. You admit that, or you believe that there is a higher power out there and that there is hope and help out there. So these are basically the first 3 steps, and that's the integral part. And that's the reason that you come to an AA meeting and you're invited to say, hello, I'm X, I'm an alcoholic, or I'm a gambler, or I'm an overeater, anonymous, or whatever. So that is one school saying, stop bullshitting around. You've tried it all, and you are not in control. So therefore, you might as well admit it. So that is the one group. The other group says, well, actually, we don't want to focus on the negative. We want to keep you with positive things. The past does not equal the future. It's more sort of the self-improvement kind of belief system, the Tony Robbins quotation mark. So those kind of positive thinking. No, I keep you with new habits, and therefore sooner or later the alcohol falls by the wayside. Both of them have their merits. Both of them have advantages, and I think that is where you need to see how a particular person is, at which part in their journey they are. They might not be willing to admit that they had a problem, but they're willing to make a change. Then maybe that group over there is more good. And that is, 95% of people with an alcohol use disorder will tell you, nope, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. Over there, John, now look at him. He is an alcoholic. Me? No, I'm just a social drinker. Yeah, the sheer fact that your social life starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, that you actually have, because you work so hard as a mum, you enjoy that with your girlfriends around lunchtime over a nice lunch and probably 4 or 5 glasses of Chardonnay before you pick up the kids. And then in the afternoon, you're working so hard. Let's make some lovely dinner. And a dinner without wine? No, you can't have that. By the way, how do you call a meal without wine? Breakfast. Okay. Okay. So you get the idea. There's people are creating their own reality. They often have a lot of jokes about alcohol in their life. And the interesting thing is, people who don't drink alcohol, they don't have jokes about not drinking alcohol in their life. Okay. So interesting. So there are certain features there which make for an outsider, makes it blatantly obvious. Okay.
Yeah.
We agreed that we don't want to swear here, but with your permission, there's a saying in the recovery world, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. We have been there. We have lied through our teeth. We have done it. So therefore, I think for you and me, I think it's quite obvious when someone is in trouble. And these people, however, don't believe that. These people think that, complete denial, everything. No one knows. It's all behind behind closed doors. Yeah, right. You're right.
Right.
No.
Yeah. It's funny because I tell my kids that all the time, like, you'll never get away with anything because I've already done it. And so I'm like,
exactly right.
But to your point, it's like, I guess if somebody is wondering if they have an alcohol use disorder or, maybe a disordered attachment to it at the very least, there probably is a problem, right? Because people who are comfortable and have peace with what they're doing aren't asking themselves or questioning their habits. Would you agree?
I would, although we are masters in telling ourselves lies, and we actually believe in them. That is the crazy thing. So why don't we do a little test? You out there, 4 questions to you, and maybe to you too, Christy, although I'm pretty certain how you will actually score in that. Okay. Have you ever thought that you should cut back on your alcohol? Question 1. Have you ever gotten angry when other people were calling you out on the amount of alcohol you drank? Have you ever felt guilty about the amount of alcohol that you drank or about your drinking or the things you did when you were drunk? Lastly, do you ever need an eye opener, which is basically a glass of alcohol or a sip of alcohol in the morning to calm down the anxiety and calm down the hangover? 4 simple questions. If you score 2, if you score 3, oh, come on. If you score 4, welcome to the tribe. You've got the full entrance. Yay. So this is a simple screening questionnaire, the CAGE questionnaire that is used in many medical practices to quickly get an idea. And as a good self-loathing alcoholic, you will score 4. Although that eye opener didn't actually do it much in my life, but in all fairness, I did the first 3. Yeah. So it is what it is. I think I want to look at it from a positive point of view. Guys, there's a life waiting for you. Right now, you're just about making do. That is probably true in many aspects of your life. Now, some of your listeners will be beautifully rich, wealthy, either due to inheritance or due to the hard work of probably others, maybe of themselves, because you don't really create fortunes when you're constantly drunk. Okay. So no, this is rare. Having said that, what do I want to say? I want to say so many things, and I just structure my thoughts here. You can do so much better once you ditch the drink. Suddenly, your creativity goes through the roof. You think you are creative and beautiful, and your guitar playing is gorgeous when you're half drunk. Yeah, my bottom. No. Imagine what happens when you actually get sober and actually really puts a bit of effort in learning your guitar. And do you think your riffs will be cleaner? Do you think your singing will be better because you're training better? You're not sounding slurry speech like an Irish drunken pokes singer. No. So I think there is so much more waiting for you out there. Those of you who think, yeah, I've got it. Look, no one knows that I'm drinking, and I'm so successful. My peer, my mentor, was exactly in that boat, and he thought no one knew, but everyone knew that he was a drunk. Absolutely, but his contracts were ironclad. So the people who were in business with him couldn't get out. And that was the only reason they didn't run a mile away from him. So that was interesting. And then when he stopped drinking, people told him that. And he thought, okay.
They finally got honest with him.
Exactly right. So bottom line is, guys, there's a life waiting out there for you. But that life is unfortunately a bit of a rocky road, because you have to address all the rubbish in your life first, the trauma, maybe the poor decisions that you made in the past, because that was hard for me to actually admit that I'm part of the problem, that it's not all them out there. Look, you are so bad. Look what you did to me. Yeah, that was me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I know that unfortunately my actions have at times contributed to the problem. And that's sometimes hard to swallow.
Yeah, it is. And once you start doing the work, like I see people start doing the work and then backtrack. And one of the things that I was told in AA is, or somebody said in AA was, when you're walking across hot coals, you don't want to turn around and go back because then you just have to do it again. And so I've always had that visual in my head, like, yeah, it sucks. Like it hurts. It hurts to have to say like, I messed up and I did this and I'm so sorry and all of that, and feel the feelings, which I completely do not like or appreciate sometimes. I mean, I've gotten better at it over the years, but so I've always had that in my mind. I don't want to turn around and go back only to have to do it again later.
But also you can't go back because you've started with a revelation. You've started with and suddenly it is very painful, but you can't go back. You can't take that revelation back. You can't just push yourself back into the old you. That moment is gone. You are now that old person plus one new revelation. And okay, what do you do with that? Maybe start digging, try to figure out. Maybe by looking into the trauma, you suddenly see that you may have contributed to it. Now that's a breakthrough. You might suddenly develop empathy towards the person that did you wrong because you suddenly see the pain that they were in at that time. Again, a breakthrough that allows you to do. You might say, wow, I didn't just contribute. I was the problem. And you maybe want to make amends. You maybe want to go out there and make this world a better place. And again, you have made a breakthrough. And you have moved forward to become a different person. And it's so beautiful. Once you do that, you suddenly become a different person where you actually develop gratitude in a much stronger way than you did, where you actually have the insights and the willingness to distribute joy. I get great pleasure out of treating the cleaner better than the CEO. I take great pleasure of putting a smile on random people's faces. I always will try to treat the checkout girl in a nice way. Those kind of things to just make a difference.
Yeah.
My patients, every single patient I anesthetize, I break the ice by seeing them in the clinic. We're having a good laugh. We're having a banter. And so I establish good rapport with each of them because I know they're going through a hard time. They're going through a traumatic time and they have to have surgery due to trauma or whatever. But I leave them hopefully with a smile, and by doing a good job in my profession, I guide them through a not nice time. So these are the opportunities I take to make this world a bit of a better place. And we all know the world needs it right now.
Oh,
so therefore,
yes.
and we have all this opportunity. We have all that. But when you're in the victim role, you only see yourself. When you're in the survivor role, you see the trouble around you, but you don't care. You still look after yourself because you're the survivor. It's only when you come into the thriver that you allow yourself to let go certain things in your life. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
Yes.
The courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. 200, 300 years old, that prayer. But when I walked first into that rehabilitation center, it was a big banner there. And I read it and I thought, wow, how did they know how I feel?
Right.
How did they know? Did they put that up for me? I thought it was a personal message for me. And to a degree that I've got, after rehab, I actually put it onto a little thing together here with my sobriety date. And it's just the weight of it reminds me. Okay. Does that mean that in the last 9 years, I've never had a relapse? Let's rephrase. Did that mean that I've never had a lapse? I distinguish there. Lapse means that you have some alcohol. Relapse means that you fall back into your old life of hiding, all the negative things that came along with it. Did I have a lapse? Oh, hell yes. And that's okay. It just tells me that I didn't look after myself.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I'm acutely aware of HALT, HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. These are the the four things that really are my triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. So one of the things that are dodgy for me is, for example, fasting, intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
I call it, well, it's nice. That's a very healthy thing to do. Let's don't get it wrong. But if you're angry, lonely, tired, and try to do intermittent fasting and keep yourself dehydrated, that's not clever. So in the mornings, I often make a call. How do I feel? I know exactly what my body would like. Like yesterday, I went into a really busy clinic and I decided, no, I actually feel good. I want to do some fasting. So I didn't eat anything, but I kept hydrated, etc. And I felt really good. No trouble whatsoever. There are other days when that bites me in the bum because I have not got the emotional makeup on that day to have the strength. And then by late afternoon, I think, oh, a glass of Chardonnay would be so nice now to soothe these muscles. It's that kind of thing. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one for us. So I think we need to be very acutely aware of the bottom, of the base of the pyramid of needs. And that's safety, food, water, and emotional connection down there. And only then up there is some of the spiritual enlightenment or whatever you wish. But look after the basics. That's really where good habits come in and where looking after yourself comes in.
Well, and that's what I feel like. So society is just feeding women right now and everybody like, oh, you can't mother well enough. You are doing all the things you're doing, this and that and blah, blah, blah. You know, what's going to fix it? A glass of wine or two or a bottle, and that's just not true. It's not healthy. Like it causes more anxiety. It causes more depression. Sleep is bad, which then, like you were saying with your, with what did you say? HALT, then you're tired. Then you're hungry because maybe you decided to have wine instead of food. Absolutely. Because that happens a lot too. Like we're trying to be healthy. I know women, like some of my clients come to me, they're very healthy. Like they run, they eat well, they do all these things. And then they drink wine at night and that's their calorie intake versus like having dinner. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's not a good idea. So as a medical professional, I would ask you, how does that impact like women and men? How does drinking alcohol affect our bodies? And is there any amount of alcohol that is safe to consume?
Oh, beautiful question. I love it. Christy, the simple answer is every single question, every single glass of wine, every single glass of alcohol reduces your length or your length of life, the amount of days that you're on this earth. Every single glass of alcohol reduces it. End of the story. Of course, if you're the liquor industry, then you want to convince people other way around. You want to basically create those advertisements that are there to show you that if you drink this beautiful little whatever liquor or whatever thing it is, you suddenly become young, sexy, and the opposite members of the opposite sex float around you, and your life will always be better with constant beautiful people. Yeah, right. Okay, but that's what our brain tells us. Oh, what a rubbish! And in reality, that down there, the reptilian brains below the consciousness say, "Oh yeah, give it to me, give it to me." So that's the problem. You are working against a multi-billion-dollar business. Let's be very clear about that. If you were to put the big liquor industries together and compare them as a country, as the power of a country, they would come 10th in the ranking of the world. Okay, wow. So we are talking about a huge amount of money being spent. There are figures that there are two how do you call them? Two influencers from the alcohol industry on Capitol Hill for each and every senator that there is. Okay, so this is a huge thing, and you see it because it's very powerful. So the first thing is around the world, people wanted to regulate the alcohol industry. So the alcohol industry said, no. And by the way, you can't anyhow do that because we are multinational. How the hell can one government do that? So get lost. But tell you what, we come halfway. So we call it drink responsibly. So now we actually can do all the advertisement we want. We can sell as much as we want. And if you're in trouble, well, that's your problem because you didn't drink responsibly. Okay, so how nice is that? And then we're getting clever because you said the mummy wine culture. Yes, we like it, but mummy is suddenly getting on a fitness trip. So she's going on a spin cycle and she reads the back of there and says, wow, there are carbs in there. I can't have that. So the alcohol industry says, sugar, what are we doing here? And then they say, look, let's think for a moment. Let's take water. Let's put some alcohol in there. That's cheap so far. Put a bit of taste in there. That's cool. Maybe some lemon juice or something like that. So far, they cost us about 1 cent. Let's package it nicely. Let's call it hard seltzer. Let's call it it's beautiful because it has no carbs. So you can just go out there. So you're selling water, alcohol, and a bit of taste, which costs cents, and you make money out of it. And it's one of the hardest rising sellers out there, hard seltzers. So here you go. So you're against the huge industry out there. Okay, what does it do to you? Okay, say hello to breast cancer, colon cancer, lung cancer, about 7-8 cancers that we know are directly linked to alcohol consumption. We're talking to the chronic pancreatitis. We are talking to the leaky gut syndrome. We are talking, basically, it is a wrecking ball that is hammering through your whole system. In the past, for example, about 100 years ago, we had still sort of the beer was transported in big vats on the back of some horse-drawn carriage. And these people who were giving the horses, they had free access to the beer. So in Munich, where there's a lot of beer being drunk, the pathologist, the guy who cut you open after you die, they actually described the Munich beer driver's heart. It was about that size heart. And it was just, the heart was completely knackered from the alcohol, direct damage to it. The liver, you know about liver cirrhosis, etc. But all those kind of things. You think you're living a healthy life by drinking? Oh, no. But what about the Mediterranean lifestyle? Yeah, about that. Okay. So yes, alcohol has always been part of the Mediterranean, but that is not what is meant with a Mediterranean food plan. Okay, so no. Mediterranean food plan is actually a mixture of intermittent fasting, lots and lots of greens, lots and lots of healthy stuff, little meat, if at all, chicken, and then and some fish. Not so much red meat. Certainly not many desserts. And whilst there are yummy things around the Mediterranean, no, when you go in a typical Italian restaurant, no, that is not a Mediterranean lifestyle. Okay, let's be clear about that. So therefore, every single glass of alcohol reduces your lifespan. Does it mean to say you are never, ever allowed to have a glass of wine? No. But in all fairness, I know all the facts, and I actually cherish my life. I love my life the way it is. I love my life, and in the way that I can actually live my life to the fullest. And alcohol, if I drink it, it gives me a second wind. I can go out there and do whatever I need to do in a sort of not so coherent state. And then what? I'm still tired. I'm still now hungover the next day. The next day is a write-off. Is that really so sensible? Is that really what I want to do? So, and sometimes we don't get it right all the time. Some of us have lapses. Some of us fall back into old behavior, or some of us fall into the problem of cross addiction. So you're an alcoholic and you say, nah, I stopped drinking. No more alcohol for me. And then there is not a sweet thing safe from you.
Right.
And then you say, no, I stopped the sugar. And then you smoke like a chimney. And then you stop the smoking. And now the pornography, you watch Pornhub end to end. Okay, so that is where we move from one addiction to the other by not addressing the underlying reasons why we try to escape our reality. So I think there are so many reasons why you may wish to think hard about the amount of alcohol you drink. And I challenge you to think what is important in your life. Not what, but who do you want to be when you grow up? And I don't care if you're 17 or 70. Who do you want to be when you grow up? Answer this question, but not with a glass of wine in the hand, okay?
Right.
But answer this question. And the chances are alcohol probably has very little to do to help you to get there. It probably is actually stopping you to get there.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
That was the story for me. And that is just how I share. So I'm actually grateful that you allow me to share those thoughts, because it is so hard when you're in the middle of the darkness. You can't see the light. There might be a little glimmer of hope somewhere, but I couldn't see it. And I just want to tell you guys out there, there is hope. Honestly, believe me, there is hope. And many ways how you get there. And sometimes your angels, they come in quite interesting disguises. So just be aware of that too.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Thank you so much, Stephan, for just sharing your heart, sharing your story, and sharing everything, your knowledge. And, people don't like to hear about like the adverse effects, especially on, with cancer and things like that. They think it's a scare tactic, but really, as you are saying, there's a freedom in, saying no. There's this freedom, and then you have this gratitude, and then you want to share it with other people. And that is what you're doing. And I just love it so much. And I am so grateful that you were here with me today. So for people, if they want to get in touch with you or read your book or find out more about you, where can they find you?
Go to mystepstosobriety.com. It is my website from which you've got links to my books, to any projects I'm involved in, to the impacts that I'm trying to leave on this world. So I work in a number of ways. My Steps to Sobriety, it leads you to my show. It leads you to my social media, to everything, gives you extra information. And it is a beautiful journey to be on. So I invite you to come along. And it's the same for Christy. She is doing an amazing job. And there's so many other people out there who are actually willing to share, to be transparent, to be open about their own struggles. And that is really demystifying mental unwell-being. Could call it illness, but I would say we all go through shitty times. Sorry. See, I needed to get one swear
That's
word
okay.
in.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
I made you self-conscious.
I tried so hard not to swear. So please, guys out there, forgive me. But this is a weird world. There are a lot of things that are not great. But I think we need to accept that maybe instead of running away and hiding, we need to face the world. And you can probably do very little to stop the war in the Ukraine. You can probably very little to stop a new pandemic somewhere, but you can help yourself in the first instance. And by doing so, you model that you can live a meaningful life. And by just you doing that, you might actually turn someone's life around. You might be the candle in the darkness of someone else.
Yes.
And you have the power. You might not see it now, but I tell you, you have the power of changing yourself, of asking yourself the right questions. Who do I want to be when I grow up? And then taking action, deliberate action every day, every minute, where you can do choices. You can choose to have an egg McMuffin or something like that, and which is beautiful. I love those kind of things when I was racing around like a mad dog. And in reality, nowadays there are beautiful studies out there where people drew inflammatory markers from the blood after on one burger, basically, and you see the inflammatory markers going. Right. So one single burger is inflammation in you, or you could actually do some home cooked something in there. Broccoli, beautiful chicken breast, have that with some sauerkraut or kimchi or whatever, a bit of fermented food in there. It will taste yummy. And guess what your inflammatory marker's doing? Yeah. So here you go. So it's your choice, any one moment. So live your life to the fullest. Listen to Christy's show, because I'm sure she has got many, many, many more cool guests coming on and has cool advice to you. So create this power team where the people around you, where you are the dumbest person in the team. So create those people around you who can help you and who can pull you forward.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Well, you did such a great guest, and I just love your energy. I love what you're doing. And I will share your website link and all that good stuff in my show notes. So thank you so much for being here. And
whilst you're here, press the like and subscribe button for her show. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Otherwise, you don't know what's coming up.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, and I'll look forward to talking to you again. Well, that does it for this episode of the Catholic Sobriety Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I would invite you to share it with a friend who might also get value from it as well. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing. I am the Catholic Sobriety Coach, and if you would like to learn how to work with me or learn more about the coaching that I offer, visit my website, thecatholicsobrietycoach.com. Follow me on Instagram at the Catholic Sobriety Coach. I look forward to speaking to you next time. And remember, I am here for you. I am praying for you. You are not alone.